This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222.
So we have a question, Prof, from Jen. She says, for people who don't get many eggs, when would you consider doing 2 stimulation rounds close together, and who is it best for?
Yeah, I don't think stimulating again and again with poor ovarian response has been proven to be particularly beneficial. Obviously, as more and more women are seeking fertility in their later reproductive years, 38, 39, 40, the number of women who have poor response, which may be no eggs with this cycle, but eggs next cycle, is increasing. And there's a lot of research going on looking for what might improve the chances of harvesting more eggs in this cycle. Unfortunately, in that scenario of poor response, from month to month, or even from week to week, the numbers of eggs ready to be stimulated does vary. And that means that any research that's done in this area is subject to biological variation. So we have anecdotal evidence that this particular type of treatment works, i.e. she had a bad cycle last month, we gave her something this month and she did better. It probably wasn't the treatment, it was that biological variation at that age. It's been a good month. Lots and lots of ideas about trying new regimes. There's a very complicated estrogen priming protocol, no scientific evidence that it actually works, anecdotal evidence that it might, but I'm always skeptical about anecdotes, because in the background there is nature, and nature does get people pregnant, even when in the unexpected situations. Other thoughts, and I just recently heard a talk from a colleague in Barcelona, and he's pushing the idea of low-dose stimulation, of you actually using ovulation stimulating drugs to start with, and then coming in with a relatively low dose of FSH with the goal of getting 1 or 2 eggs, rather than the sort of shotgun approach of flooding the ovary with a pile of FSH and getting 1 or 2 eggs. They have a slightly different scenario to Australia, because our drugs are relatively free, whether it's a big dose or a small dose, it's the $25. We're very, very lucky. But in countries where the patients are paying the full price for drugs, they're obviously looking for cheaper ways of, particularly in situations where you're never going to get lots of eggs. And so his data I saw a week or 2 ago, it suggests that there's no point in really hammering these patients. Den's talked about the back-to-back cycles. Yeah, I mean, it's the same scenario, is that the first round there might be a wave of eggs there, the second round there might not be. The evidence that one cycle or another is any better, or one following the other, I don't think there's evidence that it makes the outcome any better, other than you've got 2 quick cycles that maybe get 1 egg in each. It's a bit quicker, maybe. There are some implications for Medicare rebates on those, because technically each cycle is only rebatable if the cycle goes on for 28 days. So to start a second cycle in the midst of that is doubtful in terms of Medicare rebates.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.